This is Meet the Movie Press. It's November the 2nd, 2018. Gladiator 2, Ewan McGregor goes bad for DC, plus a cheeky exclusive, and the week's big releases, and of course, the box office. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
This is Meet the Movie Press. It's November the 2nd, 2018. My name is Simon Thompson. You can find me on social media at Showbiz Simon and on Twitter and Instagram. There's also a Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson. With me, as usual, are Dimitri and Scott. Dimitri,
hi.
Who are you and where can we find you?
Well, Dimitri Panos. So ask me how I am, by the way.
How are you?
I'm buffo!
Okay.
That was the funniest thing. And you can find me here at Popcorn Talks Meet the Movie Press and Popcorn Talks Anatomy of a Movie. Unfortunately, you won't find me this week because after coming back from Miami, seeing hordes of movies there,
Just didn't have time.
just didn't have time
That's
to catch
no
up with the movies today.
Scott, who are you and where can we find you?
I am the other Scott M. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. You can go to weliveentertainment.com, and I'll save the rest of the speech for the end of the show.
Fantastic. Okay, a lot of stuff to get through this week.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to get through this week. First of all, guys, let's talk about a story that broke yesterday. Gladiator sequel. Moving forward with Ridley Scott directing. Now, this is kind of an idea that has been floating around ever since Gladiator came out, which was a long time ago. I had hair when that movie came out, so that's how long ago it was. I mean, there were rumors that we don't know exactly what the plot is going to be at this point. There were rumors that it was going to feature Russell Crowe's ghost. Well, obviously his character's ghost, not Russell Crowe's ghost. He's very much alive. I mean, there are lots of ideas about what this could be because, obviously, film Twitter. Do you want a sequel to Gladiator?
No.
Should it be the same characters or should it be all new ones? Discuss.
I just didn't know it was part of the Marvel Universe and the Thanos snap. So I guess, maybe he didn't die at the end of Gladiator. What the, like, for again, file under sequel we never asked for.
Yeah.
I mean, why?
Popular movie makes comeback.
I'm with you. It's like, when I heard this, I was like, yeah, serious? You're serious. But I guess they are serious. And Ridley Scott's serious about it, too, which is even more strange.
This is part of this continual obsession in Hollywood, I think, with movies that are successful or have an enduring popularity. We touched on this in the show last week.
Yes.
Where people think, let's do it again. Again! And I just don't think all movies lend themselves to that. There are often movies where they end and I'm like, that was awesome. I'd really like some more. It doesn't actually mean that we should have more and Hollywood should give me what I want.
Yeah, I just don't get just finish freaking Aliens and get them to LV-426 before you do a damn Gladiator 2 movie. Like,
Hollywood's not short of ideas, and Ridley Scott, to me, is a phenomenal filmmaker.
Yeah.
However, I think he is, to a certain extent, when he does some really original content, it's really not as good as it should be. Did a movie about the wine country with Russell Crowe a number of years ago, and that wasn't very good. He did, obviously, he's done a couple of the Alien movies, and those haven't really been up to par. I would really like to see him put a lot more time and effort into something that is original and really plays to his original strengths as a filmmaker.
Right. I don't disagree with you.
Gladiator's a great movie. I'm not taking away from Gladiator.
No, and what are they going to call this? Gladiator TOO question mark? Gladiator 2?
See you glad later.
I just don't, again, for the talents of Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
And what he already has on his plate. And again, I don't want to be ageism or ageist. I mean, he ain't getting younger.
No.
There are so many other projects that he could go forward with that he already has on his plate.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2 to me isn't one that he should do or anybody else should. I think sometimes a self-contained movie is just that.
Yes.
We don't need a sequel.
I agree. And I want to say that, it's unnecessary. It's just, that's the word. It's unnecessary. There's no reason this should be even talked about right now. The movie ended. It's a one-movie deal. That's it. We don't need it.
Is it potentially one of these things that, is in development, is moving forward, but never eventually sees the light of day? I mean, the floors of the studios of Hollywood are littered with good intentions, great ideas, and scripts that were never made.
Yes.
I mean, I can go into any executive's office in Hollywood, and there are shelves and cupboards and rooms of scripts that were great ideas. Some are sequels, some are original products, some are IPs that'll sit there for 15, 20 years, and they just never happened. Do you think, realistically, this will go at any point along the road, and then they might just turn around and go, do you know what, guys? Shit idea.
It wasn't written as if that were the case this week.
Yep.
It wasn't discussed that way.
No.
I mean, it was really talked. It was talked about at a serious level that this is going to happen and that this would potentially be his next project. And it's, and I've read, especially after Alien Covenant, like how many things he had his hands in. It's like, oh my God. I mean, at least he's busy. God bless him for being busy, but this just is one that should just remain in the show. Actually, again, nobody should be attached to it. It's like you said, it's unnecessary.
I mean, Russell Crowe, I'm assuming, I'm going to make a massive assumption here because he was basically Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would assume that he would in some way come back or have some involvement, whether that would be in flashbacks, Ghost, whether it's a prequel, whether it's a story that runs alongside in the timeline and somehow they weave that in. There are lots of options that they have available. Russell Crowe hasn't really had a hit movie for quite a while. What was the last hit movie that Russell Crowe had? It's a good 5...
Cinderella Man?
Cinderella Man, which is what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at his IMDb, but I can tell you the last movie that I really liked him in was The Nice Guys. I mean, I love The Nice Guys.
Great
I mean,
movie,
it wasn't
not a massive hit, though.
not a massive hit.
Deserved to be.
But
it was great.
And again, when you talk about sequel, that's a movie that I would go see the sequel.
The Mummy.
Ryan Gosling.
The Mummy.
Oh yeah, he was in The Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He was supposed to be Dr. Jekyll.
He was the best part of the movie.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, I agree with you. I think the story's being written, but a lot of these stories are written, that it's something that is moving ahead, that is something that's happening, but sometimes they do stumble and fall in projects. I mean, a great example is The Crow. I mean, the amount of times that has been confirmed as moving forward with cast and director, and that's back to the home plate already. So yeah, I mean, it just doesn't strike me as a movie. As much as I rewatch Gladiator and I really love that movie, and you're left wanting more, just because you want more doesn't mean you should have more.
Right.
And it's a beautiful film too, from the way that it's shot. I mean, it's a really good movie. It's self-contained. I mean, it has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. There was nothing that I can recall, any loose ends that needed to be
We can make this
tied up.
into a spin-off.
Yeah.
So
No.
Move along.
I was like, I'm
Gladiator.
not excited by that at all. I'm open to the idea. If it's a good idea, if it's a good plot, I'll wait until that. But right now, it's really not.
yeah,
sort of,
and then we're gonna get
putting
the
any lead in the pencil.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get Troy 2
Oh, yeah.
shortly there.
Oh my god! Well, I actually on Halloween, my wife and I were at downtown LA. We went to the Walt Disney Concert Hall for the first time. Great venue, by the way. I've always looked at the outside, loads of photos of that, but first time I went inside and watched Nosferatu. And they were doing like a live organ accompaniment. It was really impressive. It's the most impressive organ I've seen for a while. And it was, but at the end, I was like, my wife was like, "Oh, thank God they didn't." That movie came out at a time where there weren't sequels, and I was like, now if they made it, it would be like Nosferatu, and then Nosferatu.
No,
Yeah, I was like,
To the hood.
yeah, back in the hood,
Yeah.
and I'm like, for fuck's sake! So anyway, yeah, that just made me chuckle. We were chuckling about it, and there's a guy looking next to me, like, I couldn't tell whether he was like, "Fuck you," or whether he was like, "I'm going into my executive meeting on Wednesday morning, and I'm bitching that."
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Ewan Nosferatu. Yeah. Two Ferratu.
D2?
So no. Ewan McGregor is going to play the Batman villain Black Mask in Birds of Prey. This was a story that broke this week. Obviously, that's in the DC universe. Not the only movie that Ewan is doing at the moment when it comes to Warner Brothers. Obviously, he's in Doctor Sleep, which is the Shining sequel as well. So he's obviously got some kind of ongoing relationship there with Warner. They're very keen to use him in a number of high-profile projects. Exciting for me to see Ewan McGregor do this kind of role.
Yes.
I mean, for me, the best thing he's done in a long time, I actually really loved him in Christopher Robin this year. That didn't do as well as it perhaps should have done, in my opinion, but great movie. What are your thoughts on this casting?
I think it's great. You and I talked about this before. This is the DC movie we're both really behind.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited that this cast list just keeps building and building. I mean, they have great female leads, and now they have him as the villain. I think this is going to be terrific.
Yeah, you're right. This movie I am really looking forward to. And I think it checks off all the boxes for DC. Being that it could be the start of a new franchise, women-centric. They are great characters. If you've ever read the comic books, I did see the short-lived television series for a while that was just starting to get its stride. I like what they're doing. So you have women-centric. It's slightly a little bit dark, but it takes place in the Gotham universe, which fans of DC know that universe. So you can have Batman come in and out of that universe. It really, I'm really looking forward to this. I hope they don't screw it up.
Good question. Should they bring Batman in and out of this, or should they just leave it as Birds of Prey with a footnote that it's Batman related? Should they do crossovers?
In the first one, they should leave him out.
Agree. I agree with that.
But maybe a spoiler thing at the end of the credits.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I mean, it wouldn't bother me because, again, it's something that, as far as Batman goes, like, this is my territory.
Yeah.
Don't mess things up for me.
Yeah.
Like, he shouldn't get in their way. I wouldn't mind like a cameo, but if he's not in it and you just give it to them, like just give it to the three main cast, let them fight and get over their conflicts for the one movie, and like you said, maybe bring it up as the end credit, like the bat signal pops up or something like that.
Yeah.
But I love, like, those characters are great, so I really think that it plays into a universe that fans already like. I'm all in. It's really good.
For me, it's really difficult to effectively, and a lot of people, more people do it badly than do it well, is getting a character that is within a universe and shoehorning them into a movie where it seems like you're not shoehorning them into a movie. It's often done very, very badly. This goes for cameos in a lot of movies as well. For me, certainly with this, I mean, I from what I've read up on Birds of Prey, it's really interesting as a proposition, as an IP. I think they would be best served if they purely use Batman as an off-screen narrative driver who is referenced, so you're aware that's part of the thing, but he isn't physically in the movies.
That's what they sort of kind of did with the television series.
Yeah, and I think really this is something that would be quite nice. You're still referencing the universe and the heritage, and you can even have, like you say, bat signal and stuff like that. But you don't want scenes like,
I know,
hey ladies, I'm the Batman. It's just, I just wouldn't. It's not a Batman movie,
right?
So and sometimes it works in the Marvel universe, and sometimes I'm like, oh, shit, that's awkward. That doesn't really work. You seem like you wrote that scene after everything else. So I think if they're very careful with it, I think they do it that way. For me personally, that would play
right. Unless they do something like they did with Wonder Woman, where they they kind of introduced Bruce Wayne a little bit in there.
Yeah. Sure.
I think that's a good way of handling it. But you're right. I mean, he should not be...
That was an example of people in Hollywood doing it well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just should not be a main character in this movie.
No,
and it shouldn't detract.
And not at all. No. So they shouldn't try to force a cameo. It should either be an end credit or do some clever thing where it's like a plot description and like the beginning and the end that ties together, but no.
And the other thing that I like about this, too, is that it's Birds of Prey, and please, don't take this as an insult, you comic book readers and such, but it's sort of... They're like the Guardians of the Galaxy in the sense that it's like a B team, right? They're not main comic book heroes, right? So I like the fact that we're going into, from a cinematic standpoint, uncharted territory. Yeah. A lot of people, like, they're gonna have to, like, they'll learn like who these women are, and Oracle and all that stuff. And
certainly
I love that.
For me, that actually makes, and again, this is both Marvel and DC. They make some of the best movies.
Absolutely,
they're the most interesting because you don't come with a shitload of baggage.
Right.
You don't come with a load of pre-existing preconceptions of what other people have done with them. It's just, it's really nice. It actually is a lot easier to consume, especially especially if you're an outsider who's never come to Birds of Prey, isn't even aware of Birds of Prey.
Right.
Let's look at what people are saying in the chat. First of all, shout out to Sky Patterson, who said, Ewan McGregor playing Black Mask sounds awesome. I hope he does a great job in the role. Pray the filming goes well and hope the film is successful. And also, we should congratulate Sky on his first job, second day today. Good luck with that, Sky. Really pleased that you got that job. I know Sky's been looking for that work for quite a while.
What's he doing?
He's working in the food industry.
Nice.
So really pleased that
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sky.
Good job.
We are behind you. Do it, and make sure you tell all your co-workers about the show.
Yes, please.
Because hopefully they'll...
What are you watching? Meet the Movie Press.
Yeah, you really should
9,
do that.
10 every
Which is
Friday.
available on YouTube or also on iTunes and
send us,
Spotify.
and send us some food.
Zeno Arrow was saying, I kind of always want... By the time it gets here, it's going to be very cold. I don't suggest you send it through the mail. Zeno Arrow saying, kind of always wanted... This is going back to Gladiator. I always wanted the Nick Cave version of Gladiator 2 to actually happen. It sounded insane. A lot of people have been talking about that online this week, which is quite interesting. Jack Dennis saying, talking about Halloween there for a second. Straight Edge Vegan Bell. Hey, how you doing, Straight Edge?
How are you?
Love Gladiator. Why not just make something similar and not tie it in? Just get original. I mean, that's an option, but to be honest with you, then if it's just another Gladiator movie, and it's nothing to do with Gladiator, you're competing with Gladiator. And I'm just kind of like, either do something that's linked or don't do something kind of it can be tenuously linked, but I think just doing a standalone would be quite weird. So Zeno is saying, question for the crew. What other rumoured / unproduced projects you wished happened? For me, Alien 5, Guillermo del Toro's At the Mountains of Madness, and Escape from Earth, to name a few. I'll have a think about that.
You know, since he mentioned Guillermo del Toro, I'll say right now, Guillermo del Toro's Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
I mean, what the hell? Talk about a project that's been really talked about.
Yeah.
He loves that. He has a room in his house designed after a room in the Haunted Mansion. That's what I'm waiting for.
Zeno Hour, Ewan McGregor is an excellent choice for Black Mask. I agree. Westy Kid saying Ewan McGregor most likely took the role because his girlfriend Mary Elizabeth is in it. Maybe that's connected. Maybe it isn't.
Wait, what? I didn't know that. Son of a bitch, Ewan McGregor. I don't like him now.
Ricky DeVilla saying, but yeah, Ewan McGregor is a great villain choice. Wanted to see him play a strong villain for quite some time. Would be very interested. I absolutely agree. I mean, we haven't seen him do that kind of thing, and I think actually it would be really fun to see him let loose.
And it's good for him, now he's got another franchise under his belt outside of Star Wars.
Senor Nerd asking, if Batman does pop up in Birds of Prey, would it be Affleck? Ricky DeVilla saying, please no Batman. Do we need Batman in BOP? Bop. Why not let these women shine in their film? I'm with Ricky on this.
Yeah, me too.
And I think realistically, I don't think if Batman is in Birds of Prey, it's going to be Ben Affleck.
But what if it were like you mentioned, like where it worked really well in Wonder Woman having Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Like there could be a scene at a museum function and Bruce Wayne is there. I mean, instantly people will get the connection. He doesn't need to move the plot. He definitely shouldn't be there to help them out.
He could be Stan Lee.
Yeah.
So
Has anyone tired of Stan Lee cameos yet? I am.
No.
I'm done with
them.
I'm
not.
They've stopped being cute and funny now, and I'm like, oh, do you expect them?
I'm glad he's getting the work. I'm with
like
you,
he
Mr.
needs
Lee.
it. Like he needs it.
Does.
Okay, let's move on from Black Mask, and let's move on to one of the biggest threats of the week in the industry. Mike Myers saying that Austin Powers 4 is still in the works.
I'm so excited about this.
Are you?
I am. I love Austin Powers so much.
Me too, but it's
but Vern Troyer's gone now, so maybe
Vern
not.
Troyer's gone. No mini-me. I'm just like, also, Mike Myers doesn't look like Mike Myers. I mean, he looks considerably older than Mike Myers now. It doesn't look like Austin Powers looked. For me, I'm like, I'm with you. I love the Austin Powers movie. I watched them again recently because I was like, are they as good as I remember? They hold up. They're still really funny movies. But I was also like, they're 3 really funny movies. Let's not mess that up.
I hear where you're going. I think in today's world, he's needed. I mean, I really do. I think that Michael Myers can write something topical and relevant for today. And as an aging spy, I mean, James Bond continues to go on and everything. I think that in today's world, it could be needed, and there's a lot to make fun of.
No, I do. I kind of agree, but my overriding concern would be what we've seen with other comedy franchises, sort of Zoolander 2, Hangover, Anchorman, where they've done an extra movie, they've done a second movie or a third movie or whatever, and it just simply hasn't. The magic's gone, and that's this difficult thing with comedy where if you just do a greatest hits, people feel like they've already seen it, so you miss the impact. If you then do something that is quite different, then people are like, well, it's not the same as before. It's very difficult to find a medium there where the majority of the audience are going to be happy. And I'm kind of like, I agree with you. Now is the time to do it. I think whether you do it in the US, in the UK, in Europe, whatever, there's a lot of fun that could be had with this. And I think it would be
especially
quite
with the Me Too movement and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why
I agree. And I know, I've spoken to Jay Roach about this numerous times over the last couple of years, and I haven't spoken to Mike about it, but I know people want this, but I just think, I don't know. If you did one more, for me, 4 is a really odd number.
I see what you're saying.
In a series. And I don't then want 3 more, because there's no guarantee that if now we're dealing with political stuff and socio-political stuff and it works in 2018, which 2020, well, hopefully we're living in a different landscape. So it'll be, looking back, it won't be as topical. Right. But then if you do 3, you've got to do 2 more, and it's like, what's to say that the world will give you the material to make that relevant to do 2 more movies? Well, by the end of those 3, you're not just like, oh shit, can we just be done with this?
And I'm not sure we need 3.
And that's going to be like 2030.
No, I agree.
I mean, there's no guarantee they're going to be around. You know what I mean?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah. I just say you can just make a one-off. You don't need 3, I think. And again, with the way Michael Myers can operate, I think he's clever enough.
Oh yeah.
And I'm in.
Just those little Saturday Night Live skits that he does at Dr. Evil every once in a while.
Yeah.
He's great on them, and they get so much traffic whenever he does them.
Yeah, and Dr. Evil today.
Oh yeah, I know. It's so perfect.
I just think it's a relevant, topical. It's a comedy that's needed. I agree. Comedy has taken its hits lately. It's hard.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of shit comedy coming out.
You just got to read that comment in the chat. That's good.
Okay.
In Xeno Hour.
I'll chat that in.
Yeah.
So I think a funny comedy is really needed as much as a feel-good movie.
Yes, I agree.
Is really needed.
But I love what you were saying. Like, it's so perfect for the Me Too movement as well, because of how, like, he's so not like that. Right. I mean, you're right. And I mean, the political stuff, I agree with him. I think it would be such a great treat.
A social satire on everything, and he could put it together. I think he could weave it together great.
Some points coming in on this. Jack Dennis saying Anchorman 2 is really good. I think it's good. I don't think it's as good as Anchorman. Straight Edge Vegan Bell saying, I actually like Austin Powers now more than I did when they came out. Can't picture what a new one would be like. I'll be honest with you, the second Austin Powers movie, the first one I discovered when it wasn't in a massive hit in theaters. I was in New York for the first time, and I went to see it with friends in Jersey. I made them go and see it, and we had a great time with it. Second one, my God, that film is still one of my favorite comedies of all time. I went to see that in the theater an insane amount of time.
Me too.
Still makes me piss my pants laughing. It is such a funny movie. Xeno Hour. This is fun from Xeno Hour. I think maybe instead of Austin Powers 4, make a Dr. Evil movie. Like Dr. Evil has to save Austin Powers, or Dr. Evil becomes president. Open brackets. Dr. Evil would be better than the current guy. I'm just saying. The thoughts of Xeno Hour. I just read them out. Jack Jenner saying, I'm up for one more Austin Powers. Bring back Michael Caine and have it be a father-son movie. That's an option, but the Michael Caine stuff has kind of already been. I'd like to see Austin Powers' son.
Oh, yeah.
Where Austin Powers is the father, there's going to be a lot of stuff to struggle against, socio-political stuff around that. Senor Nerd, how about Austin Powers crossing over with Johnny English? No. Scott Boss? No. Also, they're different studio properties, so that itself would be a logistical nightmare. Scott Boswell, Scott Evil would have to be the villain, becomes a father-son redemption story. That's another good idea, actually.
It'd be great.
Yeah. And Ricky saying character himself is so needed in today's day and age. I really think so. And I think, to be honest with you, it's as much to poke fun at the left as it is to poke fun at the right.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, as someone who is on the left, who is liberal, I'm more than happy to people doing really smart, funny comedy, poking fun at the left. That is really well observed and satirical. I laugh at stuff about the left all the time, where I'm like, that's so true.
Yes.
You know, and so I'm not afraid to laugh at myself on the left, and as someone who is considered to be liberal, go for it. But don't just go, liberals, fucking, almond milk. That's not a funny thing. Almond milk.
They drink almond milk.
Soy milk. Another one is a favorite. But yeah, so I think that would work.
Yeah,
but lots of really good ideas there. I know, like I say, I know Jay and Michael have been working on something for quite a while. Whether we'll see it or not, I don't know. Whether it's going to be another Bill and Ted 3 type project, I don't know.
And I think it would be good for Paramount.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
it would be good for
to
Paramount.
get them back in. You know,
remember the marketing for the second one where they did the Star Wars marketing?
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
I swear we need that type of a movie now because it's non-existent. I'm not just talking comedy, but I'm just talking satire or spoofing. It's non-existent today, and when it's done right, it can be brilliant. And I think Myers can pull it off.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of people would like to see that. I'm pretty sure. Netflix theatrical release for Roma, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and Bird Box are all set for several weeks before their streaming debut. So Roma, getting great reviews. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and Bird Box, which is the new Sandra Bullock movie, which is coming out in a few weeks, showing at the AFI actually, before their streaming debuts. This is not the first time that Netflix have done this, and Netflix have been talking about theatrical releases for a while. I'm behind this because I think Netflix is kind of a deal, even though there's a lot of stuff on there that I wouldn't watch if you paid me. But there are some movies I think that they have on their service that deserve to be seen on the big screen. And I think if you put them in theaters and people pay $15 or whatever to see them, some of that money goes back to creating new content. I think it's a really good idea. They shouldn't do it with everything. It shouldn't be a regular thing. I don't think it should get a full theatrical run. But I'm very on board with the idea of them releasing stuff in theaters, having seen a couple already, like Oksha, which I'm really glad I saw on the big screen. So, guys, thoughts on this?
I want to say that I think it's smart that they're doing this with Roma, especially because I think a normal person watching Roma at home is going to turn Roma off within 20 minutes.
Right.
And I don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful movie. It's almost a masterpiece, but that first hour, for me, as someone who watches over 300 movies a year, was hard to sit through.
Right.
People in my screening fell asleep. It's hard to watch that movie.
Right.
So I think if you were going to watch that at home, people would turn it off. So going to see it in the theater, I think is going to get you to that first hour into the second half, and you're going to really love it.
Yeah.
So I think it's important.
And also, I find that when you're in a movie theater, this is what everybody should do. I put my phone down.
Yes,
I turn my phone off.
right.
I concentrate. I watch the movie.
Yes.
And that's got my focus. I find even with movies that I love, at home, I've got my phone out. I'm not paying attention.
You're not.
My wife is
I'm
talking
not
to me. You know, I'm disturbed by a noise by the neighbors,
The
or the dog does
dogs,
something.
yeah.
I'm distracted. And I think with especially that kind of movie, and especially movies like, let's say, Bird Box, that build tension, you do need to be in an environment to see a movie like that, where you really get what the filmmaker made the film to convey as a narrative or as an environment.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know about Bird Box, but for me, Bird Box, like,
just like saying Bird Box.
Bird Box. We were talking about like Quiet Place last week, how it kind of reminds us of that. And Quiet Place for me was a must see in a movie theater because of the experience. And
I've watched that at home, and it doesn't have the same effect.
That's what I'm saying, and I feel that way. And in Roma, I think for the sweeping visuals as well, you need to see that. I don't know about the Coen Brothers movie, especially since it's set up almost like a TV series.
See, I think you still have to see Coen Brothers movies on the big screen. Hail Caesar I watched on the big screen, and then I watched it at home. And it's still a great movie, but it doesn't have that same atmosphere, the same kind of environment that you need to watch it in.
No, and I'm taking a different tack on this.
Oh.
So, yeah. Number one, I'm anybody who knows me and the jobs that I do, it really is all about in support of the movie-going experience. By that, I mean going to the theaters. Netflix has been trying to be this disruptor all the time. The only thing they're doing is they're changing their own rules. They're not changing it because people have demanded this change. They're doing it so that they can be boxed or squeezed into Oscar contention, okay?
Yes.
They've been doing this, like they've released movies like a week prior to them being on streaming. Netflix just follow the fucking rules. It's that simple. Amazon has done it. You can do it too, but Ted Sarandos wants to continue to be a disruptor. If you want your movies to be considered, and now everybody, it's like they're treating us like in the exhibition world like battered housewives, because they're saying like, oh, here we go. Like, we're not going to play your movies because you only allow it a week in. Oh, so now you're going to be 3 weeks in. Oh, okay, maybe. Well, that's something. That's better than nothing. No, it's not better than nothing. Just go to that what today is the traditional 90-day window.
Yes.
And then put it on. You only benefit from doing that. You benefit because you're reaping all the rewards. You're going to get to stream it anyways. You'll get whatever Blu-ray, DVD deal with whatever distributor is going to get that out there. Just play by the rules.
But to their defense with this, isn't there plenty of movies that you watch that you say, I should have waited for streaming?
Plenty of movies.
There are. Well, more than I would like to admit.
I don't want those movies to get Academy Awards. I mean, I don't want them nominated. The whole reason they're doing this...
Oh, well, yeah. That I agree with you 100%.
The whole reason they're doing this is so that they can be taken seriously and be nominated for Best Picture. They want
But what's
Best
weird
Picture.
about that, too,
And they're so hungry for it.
On that, though, with the Best Picture thing, let's look at a lot of audiences now are put off going to movie theaters because it's $15 to go and see a movie. Also it's accessibility. So there are a lot of factors in this. If you're living outside of a major sort of city or metropolis, the chance of you getting Roma or Ballad or Bird Box in your, maybe Bird Box, but the other two, very slim if you're living outside of a major area. Sometimes it's difficult to find these in LA and New York.
Yeah.
Also, if you've already got Netflix and you're looking to pay $15 to go out and see the movie, you're probably not, if you're someone who's on the fence about a movie, you're not going to spend the $15, average movie fan, to go and experience something in that environment. So, and I think if you're then in theaters for an extended time, it's then, if you're an exhibitor, it is, as you know, will be taking up a valuable screen. You could be putting on a Bohemian Rhapsody or another screening of Peter Rabbit or whatever. So I think there are a lot of factors in there. I agree with what you're saying, but I think there are a lot of additional factors that a lot of people who, these award-nominated movies, normal people don't go and see them.
No.
But they get nominated anyways because
they're
they play
more
by the
likely
rules.
to watch them if they don't have to put their pants on and they can sit there on their ass and try them out with no additional expense.
Nominated for an Emmy. It's not a theatrical. And to your point, though, you're a little bit off on those numbers because, again, a company that I work for, we just released a movie-going experience survey. And with the movie-going experience is still important to people, even though there is streaming. And everybody streams,
it is,
right?
But they pick the movies that they go to see very specifically.
But they like variety. They really do. That is one thing in that survey that's like, why do you continue? Like, what keeps you going to the movies? And it's not just the tentpoles. They like to have the variety. So, if Netflix, you really want to play the game, just build a distribution department, right? Release the movie. That is how the likes of Bleecker Street, that is how the likes of Neon. I mean, listen, the I Love Tanya, was that what it was called?
I, Tanya?
Yeah, I, Tanya. That movie, again, built up in such great word of mouth, and Margot Robbie was out there. They're a small company. Entertainment Studios is a small company. We need more smaller studios to release these pictures. And if it's a good enough picture, It'll get the
I
thing.
agree, but what I think, I'll just
sure.
talk in a sec. I think a really key aspect of that, I agree with all the points that you've made, 100%, and the research does indeed say that. I think part of the thing is the cost is also a factor. We can't ignore that in what people choose to see. So here's my solution, which is somewhere between where the research sits and the reality of people, their financial situation and accessibility. Is if you go to see a movie where you know you're going to spend your $15. So it could be a Mission Impossible, it can be a whatever, it's something mainstream and populist. In order to encourage people to go and see these smaller movies that will be showing in their local movie theatres, is if you buy a ticket for Mission Impossible,
Sure.
and Roma is also showing, once you've bought your ticket for Mission Impossible, you can then get a half-price ticket to go and see Roma. Or to go and see, to experiment. Take some of the financial pressure off those people who are like, I don't know if I want to, because they will want to experiment, but then they'll also take a friend. And they'll also do this. Build in that financial model. Incentivize people to take that risk.
I think if the movie is good enough, look, Birdman did fairly well at the box office. It's not like a commercial movie.
No.
Lady Bird, which got nominated a lot. Like, look at this past summer, the 3 documentaries and how well they did. Look, if a movie is good enough to stand on its own and make that theatrical run, get platformed in New York, LA, San Francisco, and then just broaden the base as it gets bigger and bigger, then you have that deal. I like the incentivization.
Yeah,
of
it's a
going
midway
to
between
that.
sitting at home and watching it without your pants on
Agree.
and going out to the movie theatre.
Agree,
Where
but-
I agree a lot of these movies should be seen.
But a movie subscription too, like whether AMC or Cinemark or whatever. Look, let the movie grow and speak for itself. Give it the theatrical run that it deserves, and then see whether or not 3 weeks is nothing. Okay, 3 weeks in a theater is nothing, and people still aren't going to find it because they're not going to open it wide in 3 weeks. They're only going to be playing at iPix in smaller theaters that aren't everywhere to begin with.
Yeah.
So why not just grow it out? If it gets word of mouth and good criticism, good reviews, people will go. It may not reach 100 million, but we need singles and doubles, and we need variety. And if you are really hungry for that Oscar, just play by the rules.
Scott.
So I just wanted to say that I think film festivals are a great way to test movies. And I feel like I go to multiple film festivals a year. And the documentaries that you talked about that came out earlier, Won't You Be My Neighbor, 3 Identical Strangers, they were at Sundance. They had good word of mouth from Sundance. I think film festivals should be used as a jumping off piece to kind of see which movies they should push. Because the problem in your scenario is that they still have to market these movies.
Yep.
And the marketing for these movies is very expensive.
And often quite bad.
Yeah, and often quite bad. How are you gonna market Roma to a normal person? I mean, it's really difficult. And I mean, like Boy Erased is a great movie, but again, it's another movie where I don't know if it's going to be marketed well to audiences.
We'll need to move on from this in a second, but if you want to make your point, and then I'll make a closing.
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be like, when you look at a movie like Moonlight. Look, I'm all for commercial movies being nominated for Best Picture. I really am. And if people feel that Roma should be nominated or it is Best Picture category, well, put it out there. Like, just don't do it, Netflix, because you feel like it is. And the only thing Netflix really wants is to be able to thump their chest and say, we got a Best Picture nomination. They're only moving their own goalpost.
Yeah.
Nobody helped them move it. It's just them doing what they want to do.
I think that's fair. On your... No, I absolutely see your argument there. One thing that Scott mentioned was film festivals. 2 things on film festivals. First of all, a lot of normal moviegoers feel intimidated by film festivals.
Yes.
They feel very intimidated. They think it's like going to the opera, where everybody is like Mr. Fancy Pants. I shit Citizen Kane in the morning. It's that level of like toff, the toffs of the film industry. That I would never watch a horror movie, and I think some people find that unappealing. I want to take my hat off to AFI. Because the AFI Festival opens in LA, I think, end of next week. What they are doing is they are offering free tickets to a number of their movies for people to go and experience these movies that perhaps they are curious about, but they don't want to spend $15 on a ticket, but they would still like to see the movie. I think that is a genius idea. I don't know if they've done that on previous years. I only became aware of it.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing idea.
It's a
and
great
I think
idea.
it opens up festivals, which are a great place to show off this content. And it's a great place for people who are like kind of on the fence to go, what do I have to lose? I have the cost of parking. I have, an Uber or whatever. Or if I have a quiet afternoon, if the film is shit, I've lost almost nothing.
Right.
Then I can go and tell my friends that this fancy pants movie that I went to see with Nicole Kidman or whoever in it is
Vox
good.
Lux.
Yeah, or Bird Box. Go and see Bird Box. And then you go, don't see it on Netflix, you need to see it on the big screen. The evangelizing of normal people, I think, carries more weight than the evangelizing of people like us sometimes in the industry and film critics and journalists.
Yeah, I'm just all for just play by the rules. I'm all for the thing. Now, the Coen brothers, isn't that like a 10-hour, like it's a
Release the
miniseries.
Snyder Cut!
It really,
Sorry, couldn't resist it.
It's the 30. I think it's 30-minute segments.
Yeah.
I think it's a 6-part.
it's 6-part, but
Yeah.
I thought it was like long.
I think it's
I
2.5 hours.
Two and a
I think
half.
so.
Okay. Well,
A couple of comments
see
on
you
this
next week. I'll let
before
you
we
know.
move on. Zeno Hour this is from Zeno Hour. Wouldn't Roma stand a better chance in the best foreign language film
would
category
crush it.
than Best Picture? There you go. Ricky saying Roma is still my favorite this year. I know me and Scott discussed and disagreed at Telluride, but I highly recommend anyone in the chat to go see this on the big screen. It's an emotional marvel. I was saying I think Netflix can really pop and sustain its business model if it slightly adjusts it, and I'll get to that point in just a second before we move on. Outlaw King being released by Fox Searchlight Wide released, whether the reviews are good or not, could do okay. Maybe not Braveheart numbers, but still do better if you adjust streaming. Now, I just want to go back to Netflix really popping and sustaining its business and what the comment you made about it being a disruptor. You can only be a disruptor for so long. If you put that out there as you're a disruptor, other people are going to start following that model, because when you see something that works, people follow what works. They'll want to replicate it. And then you're not a disruptor anymore. You become the norm. So I think Netflix have a little bit longer, maybe a year or two, on being an industry disruptor. And then I do think they need to refocus their model and find another way of being different in the market, because people are going to see that it works,
Right.
positive and negative, and has an effect, positive and negative. And I think you can only be if that's a major string to your bow, you need to occasionally buy a new bow, because bows wear out.
No, I agree, but here's the thing: because of Netflix, there are so many other streaming avenues today.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then you look at what Amazon has been attempting to accomplish. Now, they had the Manchester by the Sea.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Amazon has a distribution department, Amazon Studios. There's nothing saying that Netflix can't have Netflix Studios.
Yep.
I wouldn't be offended, unless the movie's horrible, but I wouldn't be offended to go to a movie where the Netflix logo pops up, just like I'm not offended when I see the Amazon logo
People
pop
don't-
up in
people don't
front
care.
of
No,
they
people
don't.
don't care.
They just want to see a good movie, right? Now, where Netflix has done, what I think Netflix, where they've been brilliant, is by going to the studios going, okay, we know you have a piece of shit in this Cloverfield movie,
Right.
We'll buy it from you, and we'll show it exclusively streaming. That helps the studio.
Yeah.
That's where the synergy works. Give us less crappy movies in the theater. Netflix will play. They get a lot of viewability on that way.
Yeah.
That's where I think that they win. I just say, if you really want Oscar contention, just play by the rules that
You gotta
everybody
take
else
the
does.
risk. I get it.
Take the
I get
risk.
it.
Okay, let's move on from this. A really interesting discussion, actually, on that. A lot of really interesting different viewpoints. So thank you for contributing to that. Hey, who'd
I do
like an
my best.
exclusive?
Go for it.
Only if it's cheeky.
Only
It
if
is
it's
a-
cheeky.
it
Only if it's
Is it
cheeky.
cheeky?
Ah, it's a
All right,
cheeky,
cheeky sneak coming.
cheeky little.
That's
Yeah.
the sound of fun.
So, okay.
Happy.
So, silence, please, for the exclusive. It's an interview that's just gone live on Forbes, one of my pieces this week. Background to the story: Die Hard is about to head back into movie theaters for 2 days only. It's later this month. The details are in the article. It's part of Fathom Events' ongoing celebration of movies that are hitting milestones. I had a chat this week with Reginald VelJohnson, who is obviously Al Powell in the movie. We were talking about Die Hard, the movie being re-released, his relationship with Bruce Willis and everybody else, and his time on set. Now, we know him from Die Hard as Al Powell. And we talk about, Die Hard, would he make a return to the franchise? That's covered in the interview. I threw out the idea of potentially an Al Powell standalone TV series, a spin-off TV series. We discussed that. Another movie that he was well known for was before Die Hard. It was a movie called Crocodile Dundee.
Yes.
He played Gus, the limo driver,
That's right.
who takes Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan, all around New York. We heard a couple of months ago that Paul Hogan was going to be doing a Crocodile Dundee sequel. Then it all kind of went quiet. And everyone was like, okay, great, of course you are. Gus told me, and this is in the interview.
Gus.
Reginald. Gus. Reginald's just told me that he has just returned from Australia, where he spent 3 weeks working on this Crocodile Dundee sequel, which they're seeing as a sequel to the original Crocodile Dundee. Right. He returns as Gus. He's done 3 weeks of filming, which means that Gus has a larger role in this film, hopefully. They've given him a lot of stuff to do, which is great. That's not been previously released. Pretty much the fact that anything other than Paul Hogan in this movie has
Hugh Jackman's in it too.
Hugh Jackman's going to be in this. So Rap has done on the Crocodile Dundee sequel. And we now know that Reginald is going to be returning as Gus. So if you want to hear more about that, it is in my article that is on Forbes. It went live about sort of 40 minutes ago. Check that out. Feel free to like, tweet, share. That's always appreciated. But yeah, so Gus returns in the Crocodile Dundee sequel.
Cheeky.
And also, he does confirm that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie.
There's not.
It is a Christmas movie.
If you say.
I'm going to believe Reginald.
I believe
I'm going to believe
Bruce
Reginald.
Willis.
So yeah, but there you go. So so check that article out. It's on Forbes now, entitled "Reginald VelJohnson Talks Die Hard at 30" and Crocodile Dundee sequel. Check it out. I'll be tweeting the link out later as well.
Thought that the Crocodile Dundee thing was just a hoax. It was a commercial.
Right.
Well, this is
Danny
separate.
McBride.
Yeah. That was something that was done to promote the Australian Tourist Board.
Right.
And a lot of people then were like, oh, is there going to be a movie? And there was like, this is not a new Crocodile Dundee movie. But Paul Hogan has been for quite a while developing this Crocodile Dundee movie. And it started filming a little while ago. It's now wrapped. Obviously, Reginald's done. He returns as Gus, which is great, in Australia. So I'm interested to see what they do with that.
We can't get Austin Powers 4, but we get
Crocodile Dundee too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So a couple of people are talking about this.
That's showbiz.
That's showbiz. We have no control of Hollywood. We can just express our opinions.
Zeno,
I was saying no to Die Hard Year One. I mean, Reginald says in the interview he's open. He is opening to. He's open to returning as Al, which I think would be great. I'd really love to. He's one of my favorite characters from Die Hard.
Wasn't he also in Family Matters?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He had a long run on that shit.
Yeah.
When's that becoming a movie?
And Ricky is saying that Simon's exclusive didn't come straight from Jason Blum and Blumhouse.
Me too.
Lol.
Hey,
I can't drop a Blumhouse nugget every week.
I know we don't have anything for Blumhouse.
We don't have anything for Blumhouse. I know. I looked.
Except they broke records.
I think he's on vacation. I think he took a break.
Yeah.
I think he took a break over
It's
Halloween.
like,
broke
his
records
1 million,
again.
2
Pretty much,
million,
yeah.
3 million.
Let's touch on a couple of things before we get to the week's big releases. We've got 10 minutes left on the show. Willow sequel is a Lucasfilm project. That's coming from director Ron Howard. He's currently not involved. This was off the back of Ron Howard doing an appearance in a movie theater in Santa Monica last week for a screening
Parenthood.
of Willow.
Oh, Parenthood?
Parenthood and Willow.
Yeah.
They did like a series of his movies.
Oh, really?
But yeah, they did a screening of Willow, and Ron was in attendance.
Oh.
Yeah. So apparently it is the Willow sequel is moving ahead, but it's a Lucasfilm project. He's not involved. Thoughts on that very quickly? Do you like Willow?
I do.
I
Yeah.
do, but I don't.
I don't
Another
love
one.
it.
I don't know.
I
love it.
wouldn't. I think it's too late
Yeah.
because Val Kilmer, I'm not sure health wise. I mean, who are you going to do? So you'd still have Warwick Davis.
Right.
I forget because I used to. Oh my God, I love the actress opposite. Joanne, was it Worley?
Joanne Worley, but she
yeah.
was then Worley Kilmer because obviously
Yeah.
she married Val, and I didn't go.
No,
Spoiler.
but I loved her too. You know, it's a fun movie. I don't know if they're rebooting it. I don't know what they're doing.
I think it's going to be
wouldn't
a
mind.
sequel. I mean, Warwick Davis is going to be in it.
Sure.
Of course he is.
Okay.
There's a new Flash Gordon movie coming from the Overlord director Julius Avery. I'm seeing Overlords next week. Very excited about that.
I'm looking forward to that
Thoughts on
movie.
that? I mean, I love the original Flash Gordon. It's cheesy as fuck, but I love it. You know?
Yeah, you like it for being bad.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you like it for. I hope.
There's too many movies like that now. Where
Yeah,
you're like, for
and we
being
don't
bad.
need another like
Hero?
Look, if they sort of,
didn't
I wouldn't look if they take it somewhat seriously and don't go that route. Flash Gordon could be a lot of fun. Why not?
I think if they took it funny, I think that would be too much Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'd like it to go more serious.
Yeah.
Hitman's Bodyguard sequel is officially happening.
I was
Original
shocked.
cast set to return.
Good for them.
No, not good for us.
No, but I was actually a little bit surprised. I mean, how much did that movie make?
It made a
Too
lot.
much.
It was,
Was
it
it
was,
100
it was a
million?
big hit.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, then
It was the only movie that did well that August.
Me no likey.
Sure.
Hitman, Martin Lawrence is a bad boy for life. Confirms return of Bad
Let
Boys
it
3.
go! Let it go!
There was a social media video that Will Smith put out this week of him and Martin Lawrence on the beach in LA.
Jesus.
I think that's where Martin Lawrence lives now.
Yeah, me too.
I think he found him on Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's happening.
Wow.
They're both back. I'm amazed they managed to get hold of Martin Lawrence, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
What else is he doing?
I mean, not to be too hard on him, he was great, but he hasn't
What, Big Mama's house?
done it. No, I didn't
Mama's
mention
House
any
too.
specific films, but
Three.
no, I thought he was really funny. But I look forward to Bad Boys 3. It's not because of Martin Lawrence; it's because of him and Will Smith.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I actually, again, I don't dislike the Bad Boys movies.
either.
I
and
love
think,
them.
And I think the both of them together
Yeah.
are comedic gold.
Yes.
Like, they really are, you know, they're a different version of Martin and Riggs. Like, they're really good together, those guys, I think, and I'm all for it. I forget who's directing or who's supposed to be
Michael
directing.
Bay. No, I'm just
No,
kidding. I
he's
don't
not.
know. I'm just kidding. I'm
producing.
just kidding.
But I'm down, sure. Why not?
And
And still no Austin Powers 4. We're questioning
Yeah,
that.
True.
yeah.
One final thing before we get to the week's big releases. Nightmare on Elm Street star Heather Langenkamp would love to do another
Sure she
sequel.
would.
Of course.
Bring him back. Bring
Why
him back.
not?
I mean, seriously, I would be up for. I mean, despite what I said earlier about the and odd, having an extra film, because Nightmare on Elm Street
Yes.
wasn't a trilogy; it continued. I'm actually up for another one of those. It's mildly OCD, I think.
I know.
But yeah, I would be up for another Nightmare. I mean, having seen Halloween and the success of Jamie Lee Curtis coming back as Laurie Strode, I see why not bring
Why
her
not?
back and let's
Why
do that.
not?
Let's bring
Yeah.
Robert Englund back and let's bring it back. Backstreet's back. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, there
No,
you go.
I'm down for it. I mean, I really was a fan of. Go ahead. Sing it out. Sing it out.
Nobody
loud.
needs to see me tear my shirts off in a waterfall.
I was a fan of Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which brought that cast back too.
Yes.
I thought he did a really good job. Again, bringing them back under the right helm and right producers and the right screenplay. Sure, why not? I mean, he is a character that I think is primed for making a big comeback on the screen. Why not?
Talking of big comebacks on the screen, and someone just put in the chat, who would do the Flash Gordon 2 soundtrack? It would have to be Queen. Which ties it nicely
yes.
with the week's big releases. Okay, let's give a bit of love to Bohemian Rhapsody. It did previews last night of 3.9 million on Thursday, looking at a weekend of 35 million. I think it could bring in more. I think we
too.
could see 40, maybe 45, but I think definitely 40. Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of people giving this movie, a lot of critics not really loving it. I don't know quite why, and everybody has their own opinions and their own tastes. I was very impressed and very pleased with Bohemian Rhapsody. That movie moved me in a way that I was not expecting it to move me for a number of reasons. And I found it quite an emotional journey. Maybe that's because I'm an old fuck. And I remember Queen the first time round, and I remember Live Aid, and I don't know what it was. It was the euphoria. It was like memories. It was, I don't know. But I thought the performance by Rami Malek was amazing. It seriously, it touched me.
Yeah. Did you see it?
I haven't. I couldn't
And
make
it's a
yesterday.
great movie you need to see in
movie-
theaters.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
I was gonna say I've only really been inspired to see the movie because of you two. I mean, like you two gentlemen right here. I use the term loosely, gentlemen. That is.
Oh, yeah. I'm gentle.
No.
I'm also a man.
Okay.
Wouldn't call me
Really?
gentleman.
Okay. So, because after you were talking about it, and then you just you saw it, and you were singing its praises, and then I saw the reviews. I'm like, what did you guys see, or what did they see or not see? But I definitely, it was because of you two that.
You two aren't in
inspired
it. It's Queen.
No. Oh.
No.
It's not a U2 movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the both of you,
Yes.
because of your praise, really is what really urged me to go see it. The first trailer I thought was okay. It was their later marketing
Yeah.
that kicked in with everything that you said, and I'm like going, okay, I'm in. If these two guys really like this movie as much, and you've showered it with praise,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in.
Well, I want to
So
just
thank
say,
you.
I just want to tell you that the comments, I don't know if you've read any of the reviews. The reviews are criticizing this movie for being a different movie. They're
Yeah.
not criticizing the movie because of the movie that it is. This is not a Freddie Mercury movie. It's a movie about Queen.
Well, something that Scott Derrickson actually
it's so
posted
good.
on Twitter today was about the fact that a lot of people are complaining about because the movie isn't the movie they wanted it to be.
Right.
And he's very much, and obviously Scott has made some great movies,
Yes.
and such as Doctor Strange and various other things. And he was like, "Don't judge a movie on the fact that it's not the movie that you wanted it to be. Judge it on the movie that it is."
Right.
And I think that some people are forgetting that. And it's like, movies are not. It's not Postmates. It's not Deliveroo. It's not you order a pizza and a pizza turns up with the toppings that you want. Someone else makes a movie and you watch the movie.
Right.
That movie is the one that you're judging. That is the movie that you're criticizing. That is the one that you're finding an opinion, or the one that you're praising. Don't get bent out of shape because when you're winky.
Yeah.
Or don't go and see
They're like,
any
oh,
movie.
they didn't dive that much into his sexual history. And it's like, do you really want to watch that? And if you did want to watch that, that would be an A24 movie or an independent film. It wouldn't be a big studio film.
But then you'd
Plus,
also get
it's
people
about
going like,
Queen.
why are they concentrating on his sexuality
Right.
and
Yeah,
not
yeah,
on the movie?
right.
There's more
Yeah.
people in Queen than Freddie Mercury.
Right.
He was the front man.
Right.
It's about the band Queen.
And it's interesting what you both just said, because this is that Star Wars
Yeah.
spillover, and I find it fascinating listening to the conversation,
Yep.
seeing that now it's spreading into just regular commercial movies that aren't part of a franchise,
Yep.
where people are reviewing the movie that they wanted to see, and they've got something different. So now this seems to be a first example when people are going to a commercially made movie by 20th Century Fox, and people are saying, well, that's not what I wanted to see. Well, but no. What did you want to see?
It's critics saying that. It's not people. It's always critics saying
The
this,
audience
which
are
is
getting-
funny because we're so critical about things, but we can't take things for what it is sometimes.
Yeah.
We've got 3 minutes left. We started 2 minutes late, so
Sorry.
we're going to take 2 extra minutes. So we've got 3 minutes on the clock, so we just need to touch on a couple of things.
Sure.
My recommendation is go and see Bohemian Rhapsody. Go and see it in a movie theatre.
I
If
am.
you can, go and see it in Dolby Atmos. Full disclosure, I
Yes.
sometimes work with Dolby. It does make a huge difference.
It does.
And even the filmmakers agree with
It's
that, so definitely go and see
not
that.
playing at Dolby at the AMC.
Well,
near
it
me.
is playing some places in IMAX this
Yeah,
weekend, so
that's what I'm
that's
doing.
another
Yes.
format that is worth experiencing in as well. Okay, also coming out this week, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. I missed the screening for that this week. Thanks, traffic in LA. Who knew?
You're okay.
Okay.
You're okay.
Yeah,
That's why I miss Bohemian.
It's a little bit better than Wrinkle in Time. Little bit. That's it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess.
That's not on the posters.
No.
And also Boy Erased
Oh,
coming out.
Boy Erased, I have to talk about. This
Right.
is an amazing movie. If you live in LA, you
have
have
90
to go see
seconds.
it. Yeah, just go see it. Amazing.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Well, that was less than 90 seconds.
Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic. Okay, so a lot to get through on the show this week. We just managed to squeeze it in. Recommendation of the week is go and see Bohemian Rhapsody. It might not be the movie that you want, but it's the movie you're paying to see, and I'll be honest with you. I was more than happy with that. Also, keep an eye on the TV adverts. You might see my name on there, which is pretty nice.
They're nice.
Pretty
That's
nice.
awesome.
I'm not Freddie Mercury.
I
Seriously,
can't
Rami
wait.
Malek deserves an award nomination for that.
He does.
Guys, who are you? Let's start with Dimitri.
Dimitri Panos, hey movie fans. I'm here on Meet the Movie Press, Popcorn Talk Networks, and also Anatomy of a Movie, which we will be doing Bohemian Rhapsody. Next Friday, we'll be taking the deep dive and talking about Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, Scott.
You can find me at LAOFCS Weekly. Heyo. And that'll be at 11 a.m. today, and then Black Tomatoes on Sunday at 5 p.m.
Sorry, now I've got fucking Queen in my head. Okay. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening. Me, I'm Simon Thompson at Showbiz Simon. Galileo Figaro. At
one more
Showbiz Simon on
Galileo.
Twitter and Instagram. You can also find my Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson. Check out my work on Forbes. Check out my work everywhere else, from Reuters to E! News. It's okay. We've got to go. I'm off to talk to the cast of Fantastic Beasts. I saw the movie last night, but I cannot tell anything about it.
You can't talk about
Can't tell
it.
anything about it. Thank you so much. Everybody like, subscribe, share the show. If you like it, if you don't, keep quiet about it. We love it if you write reviews on iTunes. Very much appreciated. Please be nice. Please be fun. We're all a family on the show. Comment, subscribe, like, do whatever. Have a great weekend. And don't forget, midterms next week. Whichever side of the aisle you're on, make sure you vote. It's really important.
Yes.
We will see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.